there's a story in the Bible where this woman's caught in the act of adultery, and she's about to be stoned, but they don't have the man that helped her commit adultery. They're not punishing him. And supposedly, there's witnesses. There's got to be at least 2 witnesses in the Mosaic law to put somebody to death. You can't just put somebody to death on the testimony of 1 witness. And so all these people are wanting to stone her because they all claim to have watched her have sex with somebody that's not her husband, but they don't have the man that she cheated on her husband with. He's not being put to death. And Jesus asked whoever's not guilty of adultery, like of the heart, to cast the first stone, and nobody will. And he writes in the sand, and everybody leaves, so there's no witness against her. So she doesn't have to be put to death because there's no witnesses. You got to have at least 2 witnesses. Nobody will witness against her. But I don't even think the story happened. It wasn't originally in the Bible. It didn't get wrote into the Bible till the 3rd century. Some people say it didn't get added to the Bible till the 5th century. And so a lot of people will use this passage and they don't even really look at what's being said. It's not ending the death penalty for adultery. It is simply, they cannot kill her under the death penalty for adultery because there's not any witnesses. Nobody is saying, hey, she did it, because they feel convicted of their own hypocrisy. And they're basically using this woman's adulterous lifestyle to be their own pornography. And they're not being just at all because they want to, the Mosaic law calls for both the adulterer and the one they commit adultery with, both of them to be put to death, and neither one of them are put to death. I mean, they just want to kill the woman. Now, maybe the story happened, and maybe it just wasn't wrote by the original gospel authors. Maybe it was circulated in Christian tradition, and then they added it to the text in the 3rd and 5th century later. And maybe it's a legit story, but maybe it's not. Well, there's this YouTube video where this woman, I forget the amount of money, but she cheats on her husband and she steals his life savings. She steals like hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars. And she's taunting him about it on camera, and he shoots her. And I kind of feel like she deserved it. Like, not only did she cheat on him, but she stole all his money. She gave it to the other man, and then she's taunting him about it. And so somebody said, that's not very Christian of me to take that opinion. Well, the Bible, I've recently started to say that why did you hit my car? I didn't hit your car. Jim, whoever, why did you hit my car? What car do you drive? I didn't hit your car. And the last time a truck hit my truck, I was turning left on Henson Hill, and someone illegally passed me on a double line at an intersection, hit me, and I waited there while the other person fled the scene of the crime. And I waited there till the cops got there, and they ruled that the other person was at fault. They fled the scene of the accident. And, I got insurance. If I'd have hit someone's car, I would, I'd wait for the accident report. But anyway, I just think it's kind of funny. One, I don't claim that I've never claimed that I just believe and support everything that the Bible says. I've just recently started saying that I think that the Shroud of Turin might be legit. And I think that those people didn't get tortured and keep with their story for no reason. And I just kind of believe that, or I do believe that Jesus did raised from the dead. There's all kind of crazy things where it looks like we live in a simulation, a matrix. I don't know. I don't claim to know everything. But I do think it's kind of odd that people who are not Christians will tell Christians what is or is not Christian of them. I do think that's kind of weird. And then atheist, I went through a period in my life where I don't know that I'd say I was an atheist. I was kind of close to it. I was agnostic at the very least. And you really have no kind of authority to say that anything is moral. Because once you throw out a God, then you don't really have any kind of way to justify any moral stance on anything. Maybe you could argue that some things are good for human flourishing and some things are not. But it's really morality just becomes a matter of opinion at that point. And, you can't really make a case that anything is right or wrong. So then I think it's kind of funny for those people to then tell me that I'm in the wrong for believing that, I'm not saying go kill people. I'm not saying get mad and pull the trigger. But I'm just saying it's really crazy if a man's about to the end of his life and he saved up, 20, 30, 40 grand, and you cheat on him, you steal all of his money, you give it to the guy you're cheating on him with, and then you go mock him and taunt him while he's holding a shotgun, and then he shoots you. It's kind of like you was asking for it. I'm not advocating murder, but I don't think that's really murder. Because, there's like 8 different words in Hebrew for to kill. There's a murder, like just cold-blooded murder. You just killed somebody because you was angry at them, or you just wanted to kill. You're a serial killer, or whatever the case is. It's a whole different word than self-defense. It's a whole different word by justified killing or sacrifice or killing and hunting. Or there's so many different words in that language. The commandment, do not kill, is not really do not kill. It's do not murder. And then the Bible goes on to say, kill people for witchcraft, kill people for adultery, kill people for being a Canaanite, kill this animal as a sacrifice, kill these enemy warriors, kill fortune, kill people who blaspheme the name of God. Like, you can't really make a case from the Bible that, you can't really say someone's not Christian because they're pro-death penalty in the case of adultery, because that's the official stance of the Bible. And then you've got this story that was added in the 3rd or 5th century. And really, under the law of Moses, they couldn't have killed that woman because there was no witnesses. You got to have 2 or more witnesses. So I don't know what they're even talking about. But I also think, I think forgiveness is important, but I also think that justice is important. And you really, it's cruel to the victims to not give them justice. I think pedophiles should be put to death. Forgive them if you want to, but they should still be put to death. There should still be some justice for the victims. And not just as a deterrent, but for the sake of justice. Not just to scare people out of doing bad things, but for justice. Because their life was valuable. Because their body was sacrosanct. Because you can't just go around doing people any kind of way with no consequences. And so there were people saying that man should have been killed or been in jail for 100 years and everything. But that was a crime of passion. This guy just figures out everything he worked for his entire life was stolen and given to the man that his wife's cheating on him with. And then she's making fun of him for it. And then she's like, you won't do it. You won't kill me. I'm filming you. And damn, you push the man to the very edge. I don't blame him. And then somebody was like, well, remember that when a shotgun's pointed towards you or something like that. Or if a shotgun gets pointed to you, well, if I go and, which Brittany don't have that much money, but if I was to cheat on Brittany and and steal everything she's got and give it to the woman that I cheated on her with, and then I was to go film her and taunt her. Dang, if she was to do violence on me, I think it's justified, even if she was to kill me. Country road, take me home. Bro, fix your steering wheel. Oh, fix what on the steering wheel? You mean like change out the steering wheel cover? I gotta change my brake pads before I change the steering wheel cover. I fix the more practical things before the aesthetic things. I gotta fix my weld before I fix my steering wheel cover. Tell you what, if you send me a steering wheel cover, I'll switch them out. I'll say this. Why are you falsely accusing me of hitting your car? You know, damn. But I don't know. I don't want to talk stuff I don't know. I don't know if Johnny Denver has ever been down a country road in his life. Maybe. I don't know, it's weird how at the time he was seen as not really country, a northerner, a hippie. And nowadays country music's so far off from country that he's considered country now, whereas at the time he wasn't. Like this. Have y'all seen them shape-shifting videos? A lot of it is like, I think it's just a digital camera glitching up. But some of them are very strange because nothing in the video glitches up except the person's face, which is weird to me. Like I was watching one of the Bush's daughters. They had this video and they say she was a shapeshifter. And I was thinking, well, maybe this is just a glitch in the digital camera with the live feed. But then I noticed like nothing else is glitching up. The chair isn't glitching up. The wall isn't glitching up. Her clothes isn't glitching up. It's just her face and like part of the, like around the shoulders and chest and face up on her body. And it moves wherever she moves. It's like all these black lines, stripes going across her face. But I gotta think they would never air it if it was like, if it was really a shape shifted in front of people. I don't think they would air it. But I might have already said this morning, but my friend Gabe, he was telling me about Forrest Gump Mandela effects. And I gotta say, I remember the Forrest Gump the way he remembers it too. And you know the cornucopia on the Fruit of the Loom? You know, people say it was never there. I remember it being there. I wonder though, like, what if we had some like Chinese knockoff brand, like some company like pretended to be the company that they wasn't, and it got distributed and maybe we had bought, you know, some of the knockoff fake brand stuff and thought it was legit, and it led to the confusion of the Mandela effect. I try to explain all the Mandela effects away as a flaw of collective memory or some kind of forgery, or because, you know, it's not a comfortable feeling that everything in your reality could just change. A lot of the people theorize that it's got something to do with CERN. And I'm thinking it is as well. The next time they fire that up, I'm going to be checking some Bible verses that I know and seeing if they've changed. I know it's just some crazy stuff. Like, a lot of this stuff that I'm willing to believe now, I used to would not have been willing to believe it. But there have been so many weird things that have happened, you know? And, there are a lot of Mandela effects that are just people remember things wrong, but there's a lot of them that is just I just don't think I'm remembering everything wrong like this, Something's changed. Now, I do start to wonder if people's perception of reality and can actually change reality. Like what if the mind can bend reality? And what if that has something to do with these Mandela effects? What if you get enough of people believing something different, it could actually change the physical reality? But with the Fruit of the Loom thing, I do remember the cornucopia, but China did make a lot of knockoff fake brand stuff. And maybe we just got a bunch of fake Fruit of the Loom underwear and we remember the cornucopia because we saw it. And maybe it was a knockoff fake brand. Or maybe the whole universe has changed. But I've seen trees that, I don't want to sound crazy, but I've seen trees that it seems like they've moved closer to the road. Then a month or two goes by and they're back on the tree line. Like 2 trees out of place and then they're back. And I'm sober. I'm all the way sober. I'm not going through anything like super stressful in life. And, Brittany, I used to hear this vibrating sound, like somebody was drilling up under the ground or something. And I would hear it, and I could not find the source of it, like nothing in the house, nobody, none of the neighbors. And then when Brittany moved in with me, she'd hear it too at night. It'd just be a little bit at a time. Maybe like 3 o'clock in the morning, it just like a vibrating sound, and it just go for 4 or 5 seconds and stop. Then about the time that you're about to fall asleep, it might do it again for a short amount of time. And it used to happen more often. When I worked at J&K, there's about 8 years of just hearing that drilling all the time. And now it's just every now and then I'll hear it. But I used to live in the same house when I was in 10th grade and 9th grade, and I never heard that. It's something new. And I was relieved when Brittany moved in and she heard it too, because then I knew I wasn't just crazy. It's a real sound, something's going on. I've heard other celebrities talk about, like Tupac's daughter, for instance, talk about these underground tunnels and stuff. And I think that's what I was hearing. I think they digging something up under there. I wondered sometimes if maybe it was the whale doing it or something. But then the hurricane took out the whale, took out everybody's power. And when Hurricane Helene took out everybody's power, I was still hearing the noise. So I know it wasn't nothing around us. It was something under the ground. And maybe it's something natural like water vibrating rocks. I don't know what it is. Don't know. Say hello, Feline. I don't know how to say your name right, probably. Hello, Feline. Or Feline, something. And it's hot in this truck. I mashed that button on the air conditioner. It turned on. I don't know if you're back watching. I don't know how to say your name. I did say hello, Feline, or hello, but Beeline. I don't know. I can't. I'm hello anyway. I'm almost to Alamo. This guy in front of me, I can see him holding the phone in his hand. Is he filming me or is he on the phone? I don't know. I tell you, it was weird, Tony at work's got so many different names, His name's Tony, but then his real name's something else, and the name on his time card something else. And Noah was joking and said he was a Fed. And then, which there's no reason for a federal agent to be like working at like how we work, just to fake being undercover, and for what reason? No reason, And then he was showing on his phone his uncle in the White House with Donald Trump. So then I said, Tony's a Fed, because I was just joking. And he didn't say he was, he didn't say he wasn't, he was just quiet. Probably because it gives a sense of mystery. It's more interesting for him to just not confirm or deny. He's probably not a Fed. But then, yesterday, he didn't come into work because his wife was at the hospital. And then there's I don't know if it's a news helicopter or what, but there's a helicopter with this mounted camera just following us as we're driving to J&K, not J&K, as we're going to All Pro, and then just circling the All Pro parking lot, just filming. And then I start wondering, damn, is Tony a Fed? Is boss paying his taxes? What do you think's going on? But I think it's just a coincidence. He come into work today. He asked me some political questions, and I just answered honestly what I thought. I'm not, I don't really keep too much secrets about my opinions. There's a lot of things that I wish I could. There's a lot of things I want to investigate into further. I do think there's a lot of Baal worshipers, like that ancient 4,000-year-old cult. I don't think it ever went away. And I think there's a lot of Baal worshipers that just slap the name of Israel on them as like a defense, I think a lot of that stuff's real. Like, when I was on a military base, on base housing, my dad was in the Air Force, and I was in the 2nd grade in Miss Teagle's class. There was a black boy named Derek. I forget his last name. And we were drawing the human body as a project. We had to draw the skeleton and the muscle systems and everything. But we weren't like supposed to draw the private parts. We didn't do nothing about the reproductive system. We were 2nd graders. And he was talking about that that part, like our penis and a girl's vagina. He was saying that was our pizza. And he was calling it pizza. And I was like, that's very strange, because I never heard anybody call, your private parts pizza. And I didn't really think nothing of it. Years go by and I'm in my 30s. And the Podesta emails get leaked, and they're talking about Pizzagate and it being fake. And I just remembered back to 2nd grade. I remember Derek talking about, he's talking about their penis and pussy. He didn't use those words, but he's talking about that being pizza. And I just think, dang, I guess that kid was being like abused, and I didn't even know it. I mean, I was in 2nd grade, and that was before everybody had satellite television, before the internet, before cell phones, before smartphones. I had some people on Facebook sometimes, they'll be like, they're talking about 2008, and I started talking about 2008, and they said, hush, grown folks are talking. You was probably a baby during 2008, and I'm 38 years old. I was older than them people. This woman was like, go take a nap. I look at her profile. She's 38 just like I am. 20 years more than me. But I mean, dang. Like, I will never dye my hair. I'll be happy to have the gray hair. So people will finally be like, look, I got people telling me I'm lying and didn't live when I lived. I was born in 1987. Hey, Kendra. I suck at pronouncing names. I'm not trying to pronounce any of your names wrong. I ain't doing it on purpose. Who is Jim Ratliff? Who are you? Why did you hit my car? Show me a picture. Show me some evidence of that. It didn't happen. Kendra, hello. I'm gonna come out here and work on this. Got them chickens. Come out here and work on this canal some more while I got some time. It's finally the weekend. This was a hard work week for me. I'm glad the weekend is here. I'm letting them squash just go to seed, but I probably need to go ahead and get the seed out of them before they mold or rot or something. Can't let the chickens out no more. I got this gigantic hawk, like gotta be a record, and a normal size hawk. There's 2 hawks here now, and they wait for me to let the chickens out, which I used to always do because it was really a good way they would eat the grasshoppers that attack the fruit trees, and they would eat the bugs around the fruit trees, and they would shit around the fruit trees. So it's good for the fruit trees and good for the chickens till 2 hawks started. That's a big spider web right there. Or it might be some kind of silkworm. If it's them, I have to look about that later. Dang, the sun was shining on my phone in the car, and this thing gotten way too hot. Feels like the phone trying to cook my fingers. I noticed that when I normally put my phone on airplane mode when I go to sleep so that it doesn't just ding all night long while I'm trying to sleep. And I noticed that when I take my phone off airplane mode, I have bad dreams. And then when my phone's on airplane mode, I don't have bad dreams. And I'm thinking, there's probably more radiation coming from this thing than what they led us to believe. And these things probably aren't, I don't know though. Them old broke toilet porcelain, I'm thinking about breaking that up and helping seal this place. I'll probably clear that out. I need to cut this down because every time I walk under it, I'm thinking one day this is gonna rot and fall down and kill me. I don't really need to be walking under all this. I need to go ahead and get the chainsaw. I need to change the chainsaw blade out. I done got it too dull now. You know how like them people, they do them videos and they get in trouble because they're on federal land or someone else's land. I own this land, so I ain't doing nothing I ain't allowed to do. I almost killed myself to buy this land. I got a lot of concrete in my lungs to get this land. And watch them damn commies come along and try to abolish private property now that I got some. Dang, that frog looked like he had a bad day. How'd you drown, frog? You like you can swim. What the hell? He's a goner. How's a frog drowned in water? He just gets stuck in the mud? Well, normally I dig this out and I put it on that side so it weighs down, keeps water from going that way. And all the water that comes off this hill slope comes into here, and then it goes into the pond. And that tree's gonna fall over probably, which I don't care. They gotta go. All along here, all along that hill ridge, it's gonna collect water. That dirt's gonna make this side more dense so the water stays here. And I'm gonna cut these trees out and let light come out here. And then I'm gonna plant fruit trees on this strip. So animals will be able to come along, and those animals will be able to drink water. Eventually it'll seal up. Eventually it'll turn more clay-like. Animals will be able to drink water and eat fruits and nuts from all the fruit trees and nut trees that I'll plant along this stretch all the way to the pond. And I'll be able to eat the fruit too. My plan for retirement is when I get to be 90 years old and I'm senile and can't remember nothing, I can just retire to being a hunter-gatherer. I can just walk out my back door, and there'll be all these fruit trees and nut trees and animals and everything all out here. And I'll just be able to stumble upon food, you know. That's the plan. But I'm probably about to have to get off the live because I can work a lot faster and more efficiently with two hands than holding the phone in my hand. I got most of the roots cleared out to where I can. That other pond, I guess I could show that. That other pond in the woods, it isn't dried up, but where I dug it out deeper in the middle still got water, but the rest of it is muddy. It's not dry, but it's muddy. And when it gets low, I like to dig it out deeper. It has a lot of good clay. And I probably take the wheelbarrow. I got the wheelbarrow here. And I'll probably cut a path to it. And I'll probably take the clay from that pond and build up the dam in that pond over there. But I'm going to get to work, I think. I need to set up some hidden cameras out in the woods and let it film the deer when they come out here, and the crows and the cranes and the fox and the rabbits and all. And then edit out all the footage where nothing's happening. And then start making some nature videos where you can see what's going on in the woods. Because, you know, when I come out here, the animals run away. And, you know, they know what time I come here. While I'm at work, they out here. I see their tracks all the time. Well, y'all have a good day. I'm going to get to work.